Good morning Year 4 and welcome to Monday's maths lesson. This home learning lesson is going to be targeted at the children which have got the maths book with Year 3 on. So if you've got this maths book, this lesson is for you. Now with it being the first day, we're going to be looking at the first page of the book. So it's the first page and today is going to be focused on counting forwards and backwards. And we're also going to be recognising numbers and writing them down as words. I'm going to start off with the first set of questions. As you can see on your booklet, you have got A to H with different numbers. Now the first one has got the number 4 and the number 7. Now what I have done on my whiteboard to help me is I've done my place value chart. So we know that this is the hundreds, the tens and the ones section. Now we're going to start from the ones backwards. We never start in the hundreds, we always start in the ones. Now the number that we had in the ones column was the number 7. So I'm going to put 7 in the ones column. Moving backwards onto the next column, which is the tens, there's the number 4. So I'm going to write 4 in here. As you can see, we've got 4 tens and 7 ones. Now if I was to draw that to represent it as drawing, I would have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 tens, and I would have 7 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to count my tens and I'm going to count up jumping in tens. So this is where your 10 times table will come in with this. 10, 20, 30, 40. So I know here represents 40. I've got 4 tens, it's 40. Moving on to my ones column, I'm going to count this up, but I'm going to be counting in ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's represented as the number 7. So the answer is 47. We can recognise this as 47. If you already recognised it as 47, that's great. Now, the second part is for you to write it in words. So you are going to have to write it, recognise what number it is, and write it in words. So if we think about our phonics, 47. Some people get confused when we have 4 in the tens, and some people will say it as 14. It's not, it's 40. 47. So here, I've already had it written down. I'm going to start off the 47. Okay, and the 7 just comes straight from the ones column. So in your booklet, number 1 is going to be done for you because we've done that together. So in your booklet, you're going to write just what I've got on my whiteboard, 47. Now you're going to work through these and you can use the same method that I have using your hundreds, tens and one, your place value chart. You can draw it as a representation to help you, or you can just put them in, but make sure we are always starting in this column, which is the ones column. Work your way back to determine whether you actually have any hundreds or not. When you get nearer to the end of the section 1, you'll notice there becomes 3 digits, and that is where you will start to fill out the hundreds column. For example, I'm going to put the number 2 in my hundreds column. That has changed the number that we had. We did have 47, but now we've got a 2 in the hundreds. When we read the number, we start in the hundreds section. When we write the number down, we start in the ones. So, how many hundreds do I have? 2. So here, to represent it, we would have 2 blocks. It'd be 200, and we know that that was 40, 10, 20, 30, 40, and we had 7 ones. So the number would be 247. If I was to write that down on my book, or in your books, you would have to add 200 and don't forget to put and. So it's 247 if you are starting on the 3-digit numbers. Okay, moving on to section 2. Section 2 is the reverse of what we have just been doing. So this requires you to read and interpret which number it is. So using your phonics again, this will come in really handy. So I'm going to start off with A. So if you look in your booklet now, and we will read this together. The first letter has got the TH sound, which we know is the th sound. It's where your tongue comes to the top of your teeth. So it's th, and then we've got the R and the E sound, 2 E's to make E. So we've read 3. Now we should recognise the second word, and that is 100. So we know we've got 300. And is another common word that you will read in your books, so we will be able to recognise that. So far we've got 300 and then the final word, we're going to chunk this up, okay? So we've got S, but that would sound S, I, and then we've got the X sound, S, X, and then we've got T and a Y, 6-t, E, 60. So 360. Now we've read the word, but we need to write it as numerals, as numbers. So I'm going to use my whiteboard again. The place value chart will really help you with this, just to section off the numbers for you, and it will be much easier for you to read. So we'll start fresh. I'm going to have my hundreds, my tens, and my ones. And there's my place value chart. So remember, A was 300, so that's going to go in my hundreds column. And 60. So it was 60, 6 tens. Does that look correct to you? Have a think, pause the video. 360. Now hopefully you or the person next to you would have noticed that there's nothing in the ones column. Now although there are 0 ones in 360, we still need to represent that, and that's called a placeholder. It makes sure that these numbers stay in the right place. So you still need to put the 0 in the ones column for it to read 360. If we took the top down, that would only read 36. You need to have a 0 in the ones column. So if we put that in, we can see that's 360. Nothing in the ones column, but we do need that 0 as a placeholder. Okay, halfway through. So once you've done this, you can pause the video and complete these and then restart the video if you like, if that helps. Part 3, you've got a number line. On the number line, you've got a number in the middle, and what you need to do is count forwards and count backwards. So you need to know what numbers come before and what numbers come after. So I want you to have a look at the number that you can see on your workbook and see if you can figure out, using the place value chart, what number that is. Okay, hopefully you've noticed and you've worked out the number is 503. Now it's up to you whether you want to start to count backwards first or if you want to start counting forwards first. That's entirely up to you. For me, I'm going to start counting forwards first. I think that's normally easier. So if we think about 503, I'm going to use this on my place value chart. So I'm going to take off what we had. And the number was 503. So we had 503. If I'm counting on, I'm going to be looking in this column. And this is going to get 1 greater each time. So the number after 503, we would use 1 more than 3, which we know would be 4. So 504 would come next in the number sequence and on the number line. And so on. You would keep going up. Now, when you get to here, 509, the number that comes after 9 is 10. And we need to change that to a 10. So what we're going to do is take the 9 off. And we're going to take the 10s off as well. How would you represent 10? A 1 and a 0. Okay, so it would move up, and this is why we need the placeholder. If we took that placeholder off, it would read 51. So the placeholder, the 0, needs to be in your place value chart. And just the same, if we were counting down, what number comes before 10 is 9. So we would have 9. We still need that placeholder in there if you were counting backwards. So you are going to complete the next activity now, where you're going to be counting forwards and backwards. If you want to pause the video and revisit, that's fine. Okay, section 4 is your final section for today, and it is a word problem. So you need to read the problem first, and you need to jot down anything that you find is important. Now I'm going to read it for you, and then you're going to work it out yourself. We will do an example, but it won't be the one in your book, because then I'd be giving you the answer. So I'm going to read the question for you. Jake has 4 apples. He is given another 7. Write how many apples Jake now has in words. So just because you might know the answer and you know the method that you need to use, which operation are you going to use? Is it addition? Is it subtraction? Is it multiply or is it divide? If you've already decided which one you're going to use, it's important to read all of what's in the question, because it now wants you to write the answer in words. So that's coming back to what we were doing right at the very beginning of the lesson, where we were looking at the number and interpreting it into words. So for an example, I'm not going to use the same one, but let's say that Jake had 3 apples. On your whiteboards, if it helps, those are my apples. So Jake has 3 apples. I'm going to say that he's given another 5, okay? So I'm going to draw these on my whiteboard. I can show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some of the apples are a little bit smaller. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to count them and cross them off as I go, just so I don't make any mistakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I can write 8 as a number, that's fine. So I'm going to put 8 up there. But what I do need to do is know how to write it in words, because that was what the question was asking me to do. So if you are struggling and you're not sure, in the backs of your planners, they are words that are, the numbers are written as words in the back of your planner. So I'm going to turn this over and we're going to write it down. So it would be E, I, G, H, T. 8, and that is represented as a number. Okay, so in your books, that's not the answer to the question that we've done, but if you work out the answer to this question, because Jake had 4 apples and he's given another 7, you're going to write the answer in words. That is all of your learning for today, and Miss Colclough will be doing your learning for tomorrow. I hope this is okay, and if you've got any questions, let me know. Please send in all of your work to the Year 4 email address. If you're not sure where to find that, if you go onto the Sandon website under the Year 4 news, it'll be on there. Well done everybody, and keep working really hard.